Hello and welcome to the Snickerdoodle Knits YouTube channel. I am Jessica, the knitting designer and coach behind Snickerdoodle Knits. In this video, I am going to be talking about two-color brioche. I'm going to be demonstrating how to transition from one-color brioche to two-color brioche. If you're needing help with one-color brioche, I will link that right there. And then if you're needing help with setting up two-color brioche, that doesn't start with one-color brioche, basically you're starting from a different stitch pattern altogether and you haven't created your foundation rows, I will link that up here as well. Alright, so here I am assuming that you have worked your one-color brioche until you have gotten to the row where you'll be using both colors. And at this point, you will start to see that your brioche instructions have 2 rows per row. So there's a row 1A and a row 1B, usually is how it's written out. This is because we are working each row with both colors. So we go across with your first color, and then we go across with your second color. Now when I say first color, that is the color that you want to be dominant on this side of the fabric. So that's the color we'll be using as the color for like these knit columns. The other color will be what is peeping through from back, and it will be more dominant on this side. So for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and make my new color the dominant color. So row 1A, I am going to work with my new color. Now, usually you have some edge stitches. Just pay attention to your pattern to know what you're supposed to be doing here. I'm going to go ahead and I'll just knit this one and then I'll start patterning on the next one. So really, this first row is going to feel just like your one color brioche. So we're going to be doing the slip-on yarn over the single stitches, and we'll be working the slip-on yarn overs together from the previous row. If you need a little more clarification on any of those stitches or anything, I have a video on slip-on yarn over, I have a video on brioche knit, I have a video on brioche purl, I have a one color brioche tutorial, and then I'll also have a tutorial that is two color brioche starting from the beginning. But here we're going to start by slipping one and doing a yarn over. So here, I guess since you've worked the one color brioche, you are familiar with these stitches. But that was a brioche knit. This is a slip-on yarn over, brioche knit, slip-on yarn over, brioche knit, slip-on yarn over, brioche knit, slip-on yarn over, and we're just working this pattern to the end of the row, following your pattern instructions, of course. But it's just those simple fundamentals of one color brioche that we are using for this first row. I'm going to go ahead and just knit this. All right, now this is the part where brioche starts to get little non-traditional, not quite what we're used to. So when you're working two color brioche, you have to be working on circular needles or double pointed needles or something that you can slide the stitches to the other end. So we've worked row 1A here, and we're going to slide the stitches all the way to the other end of the needle. And that is because we are going to work across this row again in the same direction for row 1B. And we're going to be using our other color. So this is my tail from joining this yarn. but we're just going to pick up our original color here. Now, we are also going to introduce the brioche pearl here. And that is something that is unique to two-color brioche. So here, I guess I'm just going to slip this first stitch. I'm not really sure what I want to do with the edges because this is just a sample I'm working here. But now what we're going to do is anytime we are working a slip-on yarn over from the previous row, so like right here, which now they're really easy to identify because you have two different colors right next to each other, we are going to work that as a brioche pearl, which is BRP, or burp. And then we are going to slip one yarn over with the single stitches that were like knit stitches that we just worked. So here, so this is, if you're able to read your knitting, this is really helpful with the two-color brioche, because then it's really easy to tell if you're supposed to be doing a brioche knit or a brioche purl with each row. And here, because we can tell this indented column here that looks like purl stitches, we're going to be using a brioche purl there. We don't want that to look like a knit stitch from this side. So here we start with, anytime you're using the row 1B, you're going to be using the brioche purl. And then what you're going to do is slip one yarn over, exactly the same way, slip one purlwise, with the yarn in front, and yarn over. And then we're going to brioche purl. And the brioche purl, just like the brioche knit, the brioche purl is basically a purl one, purl two together. We're purling the slip stitch and its yarn over together as one stitch. And that's the brioche purl. Slip one yarn over, brioche purl. Slip one yarn over, brioche purl. Slip one yarn over, brioche purl. And that's just the rhythm now for this row. So now you know all of the techniques that you will be using for the two-color brioche. And if you're able to read your knitting, you also already know, how to work all of the rest. But basically we're going to be going back and forth between brioche purls and brioche knits for each row. So a row 1 will have one row that uses brioche purls and one row that uses brioche knits. And that's the A and the B. One of those is the brioche knit and one of those is the brioche purl. So now that we have worked both colors for this row, we've done row A and row 1A and row 1B, we turn our work. And now we will start with what was our first color for row 1A, which is my lighter color here. And we're basically going to be doing what we did for row 1B. We're going to be working the purl stitches now, these here, because we want this to be our darker color here for the knit stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and just work this side stitch. All right, and then we start with a brioche purl here, because we have a slip-on yarn over that is over a column of purl stitches. So brioche purl. Then we have a single stitch, so we need to do a slip-on yarn over, brioche purl, slip-on yarn over, brioche purl, slip-on yarn over, and just continue that for the rest of row 2A. we'll just work this last stitch. All right, so we've done 2A, now we need to work 2B. Anytime you have your yarns on opposite ends, you need to go back and work the other color. So slide the stitches all the way to the other needle, the other end of the needle, and we pick up the other color. And again, this is just a side stitch. So here, now we have a single stitch we need to do a slip-on yarn over for, and then we will be working these as brioche knits because we want this color that we're working with to be dominant for these knit stitches. Let's call them the knit stitches. So let's go ahead and do a slip-on yarn over, and then brioche knit, slip-on yarn over, brioche knit, slip-on yarn over, brioche knit, and just continue that for the duration of the row. And now that you've worked row A, 1A, 1B, 2A, and 2B, you have worked all of the options for two-color brioche. Those are the 4 rows that are required for two-color brioche. If you have other rows in your two-color brioche instructions, that is because there is some sort of increasing or decreasing happening somewhere in the row. Hopefully not in the middle of your two-color brioche, because this tutorial is not for that. You need a different tutorial for the brioche increases and decreases. But like, I've designed the intertwined shawl, and here there's increases like at the center of the shawl. So the repeat is more than just 1A, 1B, 2A, and 2B because those increases change the stitch count and you have to do a little something different at the beginning and end of the row. But the 1A, 1B will be the same as 3A, 3B, just with some different stitches on the edges. All right, so now we are going to, since we're not doing any increases or decreases here, we are going to work 1A again. So our first color here is the lighter one. We'll just work this side stitch. And here we start with a single stitch. So we need to make that into 2 stitches with a slip-on yarn over. Here we have 2 stitches. We need to make that into 1 stitch. And because this is over a column of knit stitches, we want to brioche knit that. Here again, we have a slip-on yarn over, and then a brioche knit. We just keep repeating those 2 stitches until the end. Slip-on yarn over, brioche knit. 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 And then I'll just work this last stitch. All right, and then our yarns are on opposite ends, colors are on opposite ends, so we need to slide the stitches to the other end and use the other color for 1B. I'll go ahead and just work this stitch. Probably would have made more sense for me to slip that every other stitch, because now we're going to have a weird number of stitches. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're going to start with, we need to decrease these 2 stitches into 1 stitch. So we're going to brioche purl, because this is a row of purl stitches here. It's going to the back. And then here, our dominant color is now our lighter color on the stitch. So we're going to slip 1 yarn over that, brioche purl here, slip 1 yarn over, brioche purl, slip 1 yarn over, brioche purl, And again, if you don't want to make this all in one motion, you can just slip the stitch purlwise and then wrap the yarn. And then you can purl these two together. It's basically a brioche purl. Slip one yarn over, 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 and we have the edge stitch. All right, and that is the end of row 1A and row 1B for the second time. So we can start to see how our two-color brioche is working up. I will go ahead and demonstrate the next row with 2A and 2B one more time, and then I'll work up a few more rows and then show you what it looks like. But this is how you can, like, you see that basically it's a reversible texture, but your colors are going to be flipped. So here you can see our darker color is the main color up here in our two-color brioche, and the lighter color is our main color up here in the two-color brioche. Alrighty. My yarn is getting a bit tangled. That definitely happens in two-color brioche as you're sliding stitches back and forth and all of that. And now I want to start with this lighter color. I'm just gonna work this side stitch. All right, so here we're starting with a slip one yarn over that we need to create into one stitch. This is over a column of purl stitches, so let's brioche purl that. We have a single stitch, we want to create into two stitches. So slip one yarn over, brioche purl, 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 slip one yarn over. This is just my edge stitch. Now we need to go back and work this row with the second color. So just slide it down to the tip of the needle. And since we worked brioche purls with the other color, we're going to be working brioche knits with this color. So we'll work the side stitch. We'll start with a slip one yarn over. And then we have a brioche knit. Slip one yarn over, brioche knit, slip one yarn over, brioche knit. And again, we can tell that this is, we're doing this correctly because we can see that this is the column of knit stitches, so this should be knits too. If you mess up, you will be able to see the bar of the purl stitch across your work, and you know that you have done the wrong stitch. So just continue, slip one yarn over, brioche purl, slip one yarn over, oops, brioche knit, not brioche purl, slip one yarn over, brioche knit, slip one yarn over, brioche knit, slip one yarn over, brioche knit, and I'm just working that last stitch. So that is our two-color brioche. Really, it's very, very similar to the one color brioche, and we're just adding in that brioche purl and then having to work each row twice. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and work a bit more and show you what it looks like when I am done. All right, so here I've worked a few more rows, and this is what the two-color brioche looks like. So this was the side I started on with the light color being the dominating color. And you can see the darker color through. And then this is the other side where the darker color is dominating. So this is how you to work two-color brioche as you are starting from one color brioche. We're just using the slip one yarn over and the brioche knit, same as the one color brioche, and then we're adding in the brioche pearl and the sliding the stitches back and forth on the needle. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope that it really made brioche feel a lot easier than it probably felt before you watched this video, and I hope that you're excited to give it a try. Let me know in the comments if you found it helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions. If you're maybe needing a little help with something, go ahead and watch this video again. You can slow down the speed as well to just watch it at a slower speed. And again, let me know if you have any questions. So if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the Snickerdoodle Knits channel. I have knitting tutorials just like this one for each of the techniques that I use in my patterns. And I have design overview videos where I talk about all the details of a pattern before you ever even purchase it. So I hope to see you around, and happy knitting!